Hi everybody, welcome back. Thank you so much. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much. If you are here for the first time, my name is Susan and this is Rooted Word. Just want to say karibu sana, welcome back. I hope you've had an awesome new month. It's a new month. We thank God for the new month. And yeah, so let's get into today's little story. Well, not really a little story. This really happened, but this I got from the book of Esther. I'll be talking about Esther this for a while, and there are two gentlemen in this story. This really happened, so even if I say it's a story, it really happened. So I want to talk today about hate or anger or wrath or despise or dislike. Well, very aggressive dislike of somebody. I kid you not. If you've been noticing, um, it's very interesting how people of influence can at one point be the loves of so many people, and then in another breath they can be um, the same people who loved them, which is so strange, can really hate them. Okay. And hate is a very strong word. Wrath is a very strong word. But in this particular book, we find out that there's a gentleman called Haman. And this gentleman, according to the Bible, this is found in the book of Esther. It says that Haman was promoted. Actually, if you don't mind, I'm just going to look at where I wrote it down because I need to make sure that I give you the correct verses. Yeah. So Haman was promoted by the king, and this is in Esther 3 verse 2. So Esther 3 verse 2, it says, not only was he promoted, but even at the time of his promotion, people were to bow down. And this, it wasn't like the king didn't know. The king did know. So he gets a promotion, he's elevated. He's not related to the king. The king just elevates him to a very, very high position. And with this position comes some perks. And one of those perks, which is very strange, is people have to bow. And it's like he negotiated that in his promotion, it seems. But there was one man who did not bow, and his name was Mordecai. And Mordecai did not bow. And the reason as to why Mordecai did not bow, it is there. They asked him. They were like, why are you not bowing to this guy? This guy, you know how he is. And Mordecai says, I'm a Jew. And in the context, it seemed when he answered these people that I am a Jew, there was an understanding, a real understanding. Like, yeah, these Jews, these people, as you'll see later, yeah, they will not do it. And of course, we know the story of the young men who did not bow and were thrown into the fire. And we'll get into those people another day. But here is Mordecai, he doesn't bow. And for whatever reason, I kid you not, this thing disturbed Haman. In life, we need to learn, like, yeah, there are some people who just won't do what we'd like them to do. There are some people who may just not follow the rules, in as much as it's a rule. But you as an individual should have the, what would I call it? The adulting or the maturityness, be more mature to be like whatever and keep it pushing. But there was a very wicked spirit in Haman. There was a very wicked spirit in Haman. And so Haman, this thing drove Haman crazy. Every time he'd go, Mordecai would not bow. Every time he'd go, Mordecai. Everybody else is bowing, by the way. Mordecai would not bow. So Haman, in his insecurity as a leader, there's two ways to Haman. There's insecurities. When you see somebody like that getting really upset because somebody didn't bow, somebody did, fine. Whether the person bows or not, it shouldn't change your position. But Haman didn't look at it that way. He looked like, this one person, this Jew, is I'm gonna teach him and the whole Jews a lesson. Now, he didn't want to deal with one person. He decided to deal with one nation. Hey, I tell you, hatred, it moves from one person to a whole nation or a whole community. In Kenya, would say a whole tribe. And let me tell you, this word, you have to listen and listen well. Because when you're being used, sometimes you don't even know. And here is Haman. Now it moved from Mordecai to the rest of the Jews, the whole of them. He was so ticked off. Let me just say it the way it was. He was so pissed off. The Bible calls it wrath. Me, I'm trying to even... And he went to the king and he said, there are a group of people, there are a certain group of people who do not do this, who do not do that. And you know what? I think it's best that we get rid of them. And he even offered money. He was like, I'll give 10,000 silver, whatever. I'll pay the people. I'll pay the people to carry out this deed. Don't even worry, king. It's not even about you. I have the money. You know, I'll do it. I can do this. The king, not asking questions, trusts his servant, says, okay, gives him the signet ring and says, go ahead, go and do it. Now, let me tell you, pick your battles with some people. Pick your battles with some people. Leaders, if you're a leader, hear me well. Pick your battles with some people wisely, because you don't know who's backing up those people. They might look very simple to you. They might look very, whatever, cheap to you. They might look very little to you. But in their littleness, cheapness, simplicity, you don't know who is backing them up. So here this guy goes. And let me tell you, God is merciful. What I learned about this between Mordecai and Haman, God even tries to get Haman's attention. How does he do so? So it says, it records that at one point in time, the king couldn't sleep, yeah? And so was just asking them, maybe read me the reports of 3 months ago or 6 months ago. Let me hear what I did. Let me hear what happened. You know, let me hear what was going down. And when it came to this, there was that Mordecai had saved the king from assassination or a plot to kill him. He asked, did I do anything for this Mordecai? And the guy said, no, it's not recorded. Another thing, things are recorded, guys. So he says, okay. And when he's asking, okay, he's thinking, what can I do? What can I? He asks, who is outside there? And it is Haman that is there. Now, Haman was coming to give the king a suggestion to kill this Mr. Mordecai with the gallows because his wife had suggested that. But here comes Haman, and the king is like, what should I give? What should the king do to honor somebody? To make him, know that I really appreciate what he has done. And look at Haman. Haman, full of himself, insecure, full of himself, self-absorbed. He's like, oh, do this and that, take the robe, let him be paraded in front of everybody. And the king says, great, go do it, and go do it for Mordecai. Now let me tell you, if it were me, can you imagine, you don't like this person, and then the king, it's a king, it's not some local guy just there down the road, tells me to go do that for the person I don't like, let's just assume, or the worst person. Do you know what I would do after that? Either I would actually go back to ask the king, like, why did you want me, do the deed, and go back and ask, like, I gave you the suggestion, but why? You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't know where the king's heart or mind is, you're in trouble. If Haman had asked the king, why would you want to do this for Mordecai? He would have gotten an answer, and the king would have said, oh, Mordecai saved my life and this and this. But you see, he didn't ask. The Bible always says ask. Even for wisdom, ask. So that was round number one. God was trying to tell him, hey, Mordecai is on the king's eye. He's on the king's head. He's in the king's mind. But no, he wouldn't take it. The other thing is that the wife, well, let me just go back. The other thing is that he's invited for this lunch with the queen. Again, he doesn't ask. He doesn't wonder, like, why am I the only one? In anything, he goes to brag to his wife that he's the only one who was invited. Let me tell you guys, when you are invited alone and not with your pals or not with people on your same level, you have to ask yourself, why? Or even ask the queen, what have I done for you to give me this honor, this favor? Because, maybe I want to do the same thing. I would like to continue doing this and seek your graces. But no, he doesn't ask. He's very excited. He goes. And he goes again for the next one. I kid you not. Let me back up a little bit. I think I'm in a hurry. So, when Haman finished parading Mordecai to everybody, And I said, he did not ask the king, why did we do this? Why did you want me to do this? I know I gave the suggestion, but you didn't tell me why. When he went back and he told his wife about it, the wife said something very interesting. Sorry, let me tell you, God can use anybody. God can use anybody to warn you. God can use anybody to even prophesy on you. Haman was full of himself. When this wife is interesting, because she's the same wife in the beginning. When he goes home and complains that Mordecai doesn't bow, she's like, why don't you build a gallows there and get him killed? Okay. And he takes that idea. He's like, yeah. Those husbands were very interesting. They really listen to their wives. And now the same wife is like, let me tell you, sweetie pie, if this man is of Jewish descent, so they have an understanding of the Jews. Mordecai is being asked, why don't you bow? He says, because I'm a Jew, I cannot do this. We can only bow for God. There's nobody else we bow to. Okay? Haman, for whatever reason, doesn't have an understanding. But his wife not only has an understanding and has already told him, you see now, this Mordecai guy, you're already falling before him. And guess what? If he's a Jew or of Jewish descent, you will not prevail. You are going to surely fall. And let me tell you, after her words, the next day he went for that lunch. Things got so out of hand. Somehow even fell near the queen. The way it's written, it's like he fell near where the Queen Esther was sitting. The king came and found this issue. He's like, are you trying to assault my wife? Like, it went from 0 to 1,000. And we all know the story. Haman was the same gallows that he had built for Mordecai. They were used on him. Now, the Bible does not reveal in his end if Haman finally knew that Esther or Hadassah and Mordecai were even related. I mean, this is how far off he went. Like, if he had just taken a moment, he would have found out that despite him not liking or, Mordecai not bowing, he would have just let it run off his shoulders. But because he couldn't do that, let me tell you, one thing I have learned is pride, arrogance, feeling a lot for yourself, feeling better than thou, it's going to trip you. That's why in English they say pride comes before a fall. Yes, it does. So I am just saying, hate and love made a date, and love always wins. Love will always win. Let me tell you, let me say it slowly so that you can understand. When you find yourself in a position as a leader, as a mother, as a parent, as a sister, as a husband, whatever you are, as a president, as a governor, as a senator, whatever you are, you want to call yourself titles, whatever you are, let me tell you, when you're given a choice, choose love. Hate will bring you down. Arrogance will bring you down. Pride will bring you down. And the setup that you set up is the setup that will be used for you. So that's all I have today. So, hate and love made a date, and love prevailed. And love will always, always prevail. This is Rooted Word. Keep it here, keep it rooted. Until the next one, bye-bye.